Hello, everyone. You know, am I too early? No. It's a real pleasure to be here at CitizenCon in person. I've had so much fun. Thank you all. But my name is Jens. I'm here from Manchester. And I'm going to talk to you about some improvements to player traversal. So we're going to start in 0G, where we've been rebuilding the EVA experience from ground up. So the first thing you should see is that we've made the exit from gravity less disorientating. Oh, we got a faith plant. We made it. All right, so we made the re-entry much more forgiving. So this EVA has a new prone lateral pose, and this is really important to us because it allows us to get close to surfaces, and it allows us to walk across them. So we can see that in this video here. Okay, and as it gets to the end, we're going to jump off. Okay, here we go, into that. And this smaller profile lets us get into spaces we couldn't get into before, or not easily with the old EVA. We're going to traverse through here, thread the needle, and also the collision is much more forgiving. We're going to slide off at slower speeds, so we're not going to be spinning away. Okay, big reveal. Love this station. This is amazing. And we're also adding grips, so in interiors, you might be able to hold on to grips to do interactions and walk between the grips to get better control. Now, thank you very much. So now prone has long been a problem motion set for us, right? But taking these EVA posing solutions we saw, we can now rotate around the camera without any lateral translation. So we're not rotating around the hips anymore. And it allows you to aim much better. We're also not moving the body, so we don't need to worry about the external collisions anymore, right? We're not going to get pushed around. Of course, prone isn't all about looking around. We want to traverse as well. So we're going to head down this vent. And here we put in a new collision style. So this is all about letting you have control in narrow, small spaces, smaller than this. We're going to be able to push around the corners. We're going to go around tight bends. And we're going to be able to reliably go up and down slopes. And this is where prone led the way. So we then took this and we put it into the EVA. So if I turn off gravity here, which I'm not going to do, but if I did, the EVA would have been able to traverse the exact same place. And by having these motion sets so similar, we can exchange success between them. And this could then be done to other horizontal sets, like prone light sets, for example, like the water world showed it yesterday. We might be able to take you swimming there one day. So. Okay, we're going to move from the horizontal to the vertical. So with ladders, we put in some new subtle and significant improvements. So we got midpoint markups that lets you enter the ladder at anywhere. We're going to let you look around so you can do 360s. We're going to let you lean on the ladders so that you can avoid obstacles or peek around corners. And this all got a full new animation set. It looks amazing, especially with all this beautiful star cloth. You know, you got both the hood and the cape there. It looks amazing. Okay, so with combat, we wanted to add more speed to the encounters. So what we've done is we've removed the weapon penalty, so you can move at the same speed with and without the weapon out. We've reduced the inertia, so you're going to be able to push up to your desired speed faster. And this is already in 320 and 321, and we've got more things like this to come. Right, so I didn't just want to talk about improvements. I've hinted at swimming, but I'm going to show you a different feature, right? So, sliding. So, with the power slide, you inject a burst of speed. This doesn't just take you from A to B faster. You're going to have a reduced profile. You become a smaller target. It doesn't come for free. You know, you're sprinting, so that's going to cost you stamina. You're sliding, that's going to add some stamina cost. And when I do it back to back like this, my heart rate is just pumping, 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 right? So you got to be a bit careful. You can't just slide your whole way from the hubs to the spaceport. Okay, so another thing that is really important to us is that with the slide, it's a short duration, but we want interactivity as soon as possible. And that's true for all our motion sets. We're going to go through all of them and give you interactivity. So with the slide, we want you to be able to aim around as soon as possible. The moment you hit the ground, you're going to be able to aim around, all right? And the direction is locked, so if I was to slide from one end of the stage to the other, I would be sliding this way, but I'd be looking this way, right? And look at you guys, hey. But while I'm sliding, I can hip fire. And as I come out in the exit, I can ADS, I can lean. I could go back to sprint right away, so I could do back-to-back slides, like we saw in the last video. Okay, so moving beyond traversal, just to finish this section, I want to talk about new hazard. Now, you saw this yesterday in the UI demo. I lost my phone. Bone, can you press the button? That's it. Okay, radiation, right. So radiation, for that, it's a new addition to this active status system. And we need to look at the bottom left here. So in the middle, you got the amount of radiation that being pushed on your body. If you have a directional source, it's based on your body surface and your distance to that source. So by going behind the cover here, I can completely cut off all the radiation. So I can use that. And then on the left, we have an icon that has a shield around it. Now, that shield works in two ways. Right? First of all, it comes from your outfit. So depending on what you're wearing, you're going to have a better or less accurate shield, right? It has a threshold. As long as your radiation doesn't exceed the threshold, the shield will hold true. It'll scrub all the radiation off, and you can stay there as long as you like. But as the shield starts peeling off, when the radiation gets higher, the shield will peel off. And the radiation sickness kicks in right at the end of the video here. And my health just deteriorates super, super quick. So yeah, that's not great. Okay, so we're going to see some more radiation in the next section. So I would like to welcome Inesh up on the stage. Thank you very much, everyone.
Why are we showing that? Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Inês, and I'm a gameplay programmer here at CIG. And I'm here today to tell you all about... Thank you. And I'm here today to tell you all about the features we've been working on to improve the player interaction experience with the physical objects in the world. So let me start by telling you what we've made to make it easy for you to identify and interact with these objects in the world. We have introduced in the new interaction prompts, which are AR cards that appear over the objects as the player gets near them. These, combining with scanning, will help the player to easily identify the interactable objects in the scene. So we have improved the algorithm that our interaction system uses to determine the current item in focus. So you'll have a smarter detection and selection as you move around and look around the scene. So the prompts will show you the active interaction and the keybind that you can use to quickly trigger it, like you see on the pictures. So we are trying to minimize the friction of the player to interacting with these objects. You no longer have to go into interaction mode to bring up the cursor, then drag it over, and to select using the inner thoughts. So we're removing that. So what happens if an object has more than one interaction? Well, for that, you can just simply hold F, and this will bring you the new interaction wheel. So this is our new interaction wheel. It will be focusing on the item. And you can see that up to 2 of the interactions have a star icon. So this is related to another system that you are bringing to you that we call in the default item actions. So this allows us to have a primary interaction, that's the one that shows on the prompt, and a secondary interaction. So these are default actions that you can easily trigger using shortcuts. So these actions will change based on the combination of the item, the player, and the environment state. And although designers do choose the default actions that we bring to you, you are fully able to customize them to fit your preferences and playing style. So let's take a look at this in action. Here you can see the prompts that change depending on your focus. So let's bring up the wheel. And I really like my plushes, so I want to inspect them when I find them around. So I'm changing that to my primary. And you'll see that does not affect only the item they're interacting with, but any item that falls into the same category. Go next. OK. So I've shown you some features that improve. Thank you. So I've shown you features that improve the readability and easiness of interacting with the objects in the world. But the other part of our focus was to bridge the disconnection between the player and the object you are interacting with. In a fully physicalized world that we want to provide you, a tactile experience is very important to sell the experience. So we've introduced a new system that allows us to play animations on the player of actually reaching out and physically touch the objects in the world. Yeah. So our main goal was to give you a better immersion, but at the same time, minimizing the friction and the control we take away from you. So this really was an exercise between code, design, and animation to give you the best experience possible. Let's see some of this in action. And pressing buttons has never been so satisfying and fun. And I just kind of like go. And OK, so let's continue with this theme of tactile experiences. The next thing I want to talk to you about are usable interactables. So usables are objects that have existed in our game for a very long time. And designers have had a variety of tools to build these really interesting and complex sequences for the AI. But up until now, what we could do for the player was very limited. So this past year, we've been building up our tools that provided for designers that designers could build these really interactive experiences, but for the player. And the advantage of using the usable system is that anything that the player will be able to do, the AI will also be able to do. So let's have a look at a simple demo that one of our designers put together to see what we can now achieve. So in this scenario, the player has to go forward but can't go forward because of the toxic water. So he has to go over to the valve to turn off the water. So before, we could maybe play a simple animation when you interacted, but now designers can give full manual control to you. So you, by pressing the specific inputs, you will be driving the system. But this is not enough. We needed to be able to give designers a way to translate what the player is currently doing and affect other objects in the world in specific ways. So this is what is happening here. As the player is turning the valve, is controlling the flow of the water that's coming from the pipes. And what should happen when the player is no longer in control? Do we want to keep the state, revert back to the initial one, or maybe trigger something else altogether? Well, it's up to designers to define the type of experience they want to bring to you. So let's finally turn off that valve, rush over before that broken valve starts turning off, and then see another small example. Oh, let's go. So yeah, we'll see another small example where you won't be able to open the door by a press of a button, but you have to manually interact with that pump and manually open it. So you'll have to time your inputs to slowly open the door. So this is just a small taste of the level of interactivity that we can now have with these objects. We had really nice results for Squadron, for the mess hall line, and I can't wait to see what the PU designers will create and bring up to your hands. Thank you. Thanks. OK, let's quickly talk about kiosks and terminals. And let's be honest, it's really hard to interact and get a good view of these ones. So we made a small little changes to make it easier for you. We've created a new focus mode that will walk the player to perfectly align with the kiosks. So we can better perfectly frame the screen on the viewport. At this point, the interactive screen will steal the input focus until you actively chooses to leave. So let's take a look at this in action. And look at that, when you trigger it, and like, yeah, so this is a very small quality of life improvement, but it will make it much easier for you to interact with these kiosks. And finally, let's talk about looting. This is our new looting screen. It's not replacing the inventory, but it will be used when you're looting a body or any other lootable that you find in the world. It was specifically designed to improve this experience. So since looting is a common action during FPS combat, especially if you haven't fully prepared ahead, we wanted to make it as easier and quick as possible, so you could spend the minimum amount of time to grab any items you need from your target. So it displays the current loadout and a simplified version of the inventory. Looting favors speediness, while the inventory is there so you can fully manage your loadout. So we're still actively working on it, and this is especially on the UI and art, but I want to give you a little sneak peek how this all works. Okay, let's go over to so you see the player loadout is on items are on the bottom, the target is on the top. You can hover, if you hover the different widgets, you'll see a tooltip that with the different quick actions you can do. You can just simple press. Yeah, it'll be so much easier. So yeah, you can quickly press to just equip or swap. You can even use your mouse wheel if you want to change the target. You can drop anything, store anything, just really quick actions. And you'll see in a minute that we also can trigger ammo repooling. So this will grab all available ammo, either from your target or from your inventory, and will fill up the magazines in your loadout and get rid of any empty magazines. So yeah, it's looking really good. Yeah, so it's looking really good, and I can't wait to see the final art. So that's all from me, so thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great time.
Right, hello everyone. For those who cannot remember, my name is Jens, and I'm now going to talk to you about some changes we made to our stealth gameplay, and I'm going to give you an update on weaponware. Right, so takedowns is an important part of our stealth encounters. So this is where we're going to add some player skill progression. So going to move you through different action sets. You're going to start out by struggling. You might fail. Of course, this sort of added time and the extra noise you're making is really going to increase the risk of detection. You're going to get faster the more you do it. And then you're going to reach maximum efficiency. Check this one out. So he's so fast, you can barely see him do it. And then he guides the body to the floor, so it makes almost no noise, right? We're going to explore some more variation beyond our unarmed and our knife takedowns, like sedative injection pens and contextual takedowns. So this guy on the railing here, let's see what we can do about him. So by using the environment, we can do a more efficient takedown than maybe our skill level would have allowed. And it certainly looks a lot cooler. And we're going to be able to use this to get to enemies that might be otherwise difficult to get to with our normal takedowns, like a pilot strapped into his pilot seat, sneak up on him and take him out. Okay, so in that last video, we incapacitated that enemy a lot. I'm going to introduce you to a new weapon, a new item, and that's the restraints. So with the restraints, okay, let's take him down first. One more. Oh. Okay, so with the restraints, we're going to turn him over. We're going to cuff his hands. We're going to cuff his legs. Now, if he wakes up, he can't chase us down, right? But he could call out for help. So what we're going to do as well is we're going to add places in the environment where you can stash a body. You can hide them, either unconscious or dead. And that way it should be easier to remain undetected and keep you in that stealth bubble. Now, this is another thing we talked about in the UI demo, which is the ping. And we saw it in Inesh's presentation, how she did a short ping to highlight a door pump. Now, of course, we allow you now to charge up that ping. And by doing so, we can see further, and we can see through obstacles, and we can populate more information into our data bank that then shows up in our box outs here. So you get the name, and you maybe get the race, and maybe the faction. And you can use this information to figure out where is the weak link, which enemies can I take down without being discovered. There's a risk here, okay? So there's a charge up time, means you can't do it all the time. It's going to recharge slowly. You see the bar at the top slowly going down. Until that goes all the way down, I can't ping. I can't even do a short ping. And it's going to spike my emissions or my signature. So an enemy with the right equipment or tech level might discover me. Okay, so let's move on to some talk about weaponware. So here we're going to see a simulation of a weapon getting more and more worn over time. We're going to expand this beyond weapons to other FPS items like your armor, your clothing, your helmets. In actual game, this would be triggered by weapon usage, right? So the more you fire your gun, the more worn it's going to get. And this is going to affect its efficiency, it's going to affect its reliability, and it's going to reduce its resale value. Each item is going to wear at its own rate and persist at its own rate. So you could have a worn rifle with a pristine scope or a pristine rifle with a worn scope. Check this one out. There you go. So the geometry isn't the only thing that's going to change as your weapon wears. So here we're going to see a pristine Gemini pistol in the little window and a worn one in the big window. And you can see the visual effects. It's belching out smoke here because it's very worn, right? It's telling you, it's time to get this one changed. And you should be able to hear the audio as well. It's get growlier. Okay, on to some consequences. So it's not all visual, so we're going to start with misfire. So the first thing that's going to happen is you press the trigger, your gun doesn't fire. The second thing that happens in this video, you got... I hope you guys know what's happening. So you go, and then it goes click. That's the bullet getting lodged in the chamber, right? So we've got to fix it. So it's telling us to fix it. We're hitting the button, our enemy's firing on us. So you got some options. You don't have to fix it. You could holster your gun, you could pull out a new gun. You could use that new looting interface that Inesh showed to grab a better gun. Okay. Okay, I'm going to finish this section with the features that's tangentially related to wear, and that's the dirt accumulation. So here again, we're going to see a simulation of dirt accumulating over time on the same rifles we saw before. But in the actual game, this would be based on your activities and the environment you're in. So if you're running around in a sandstorm, you're rolling in mud, you leave your gun outside proper storage, it's going to accumulate dirt. And that's going to increase the rate at which it wears. So the dirtier your gun is, the faster it will wear out. And this is true for other biome accumulations, like frost. So let's take a look at this one as well. Oh, or not. Okay, so in the future, it's going to be really important that you keep your guns clean and repaired. I'm now going to welcome Zach on stage, and he's going to talk to you more about the FPS weapons. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Zach Priest. I'm a senior FPS game designer. I'm here to share some of the new, interesting FPS things we have to bring you. So if you play modern shooters, you'll have noticed that the quality bar has gone through the roof in recent years. Things from visual recoil to VFX, just overall general weapon feel. As you know, we recently did a pass on our weapons to get them a bit more up to speed, but we couldn't hit that quality bar that we really wanted to. Because guns are violent in nature, and we couldn't portray that as much as we wanted to. So we made a new tool. And it allows us to show the violent nature of weapons while creating greater weapon-to-weapon variety. So, this new tool also integrates better with other systems. For example, you just saw like wear and dirt and things like that. And I'm extremely proud to show you the new weapon recoil. So this is the old P4. It kind of falls a bit flat. You're not really getting that like oomph that you want. But you've probably shot this a million times. Now the new P4, it has these nice little bop downs, and you feel it getting close to the camera, and the overall aggression of the weapon is a lot more there. It feels a lot more visceral when you fire it. This new tool gives us granular control over the movements of the weapon. So essentially what we have in one of our tools now is almost an animation tool, where we can control the rotation and the location of things. So this is the old PA SMG. This is a new one. And in general, it's bringing the house down now. So recoils are just, in general, easier to tweak now. And they're a lot more impactful, and we can create weapon variety in just far new, more and interesting ways. Cool. OK. Thank you very much. Cheers. We also have new procedural animation over our ADS. So previously, if you play right now, you basically have a linear pose-to-pose transition. And sure, it's there, but now we layered some of this procedural stuff on top. So for example, if you have an SMG, it can come up a lot quicker, it can flick up, you feel really cool. LMGs can be a lot more heavy. So before, it basically just do, move from pose to pose. But now we can keep it longer down here, bring it up slowly, and overall, it just feels like you've got an LMG, or it feels like you've got an SMG. We're just using things like ease in and ease outs, and just give more life to the overall weapon. Oh, there we go. And we also have new iron sights. So sci-fi weapons are chonky. They're full of detail. They look really cool, but a lot of that detail can potentially get in the way sometimes. So you've seen, this is a change to the Kana, where we have raised the weapon sight and given what we call the target acquisition window more room to breathe. So if you're aiming at somebody, you can just generally see a lot more. So optics aren't a crutch anymore. So you can see this on the Ravager, and you can see this on the Custodian. Now, weapon functionality changes. So as you imagine with the new recoil tool, we're going to do a pass on all the existing weapons. They're going to look and feel great. But while we were looking at our weapons, we also realized that some things don't necessarily, align with their manufacturer, right? You look at something like a Gemini pistol. Now, Gemini overall, it's rule of cool. That's what Gemini is supposed to be. So the LH86 pistol should be fully automatic, realistically. So we have a video to show you of the pistol. And as you can see, it goes ballistic when you fire it. The magazine count has also increased to allow for that just crazy feeling that the pistol gets. Cool. Cool. Thank you very much. Right, and moving on to our new Vault weapons. So, it's the other video. That's the optic one. There you go. Thank you. These are the Vault weapons. So Vault is primarily based around controlling a heat of a weapon. These weapons have the potential to overheat. And if they overheat, you will be unable to fire. And they will enact differently. So some weapons will just basically be beams from the get-go. Some will go into beams. Like you see, this one goes into a beam once it reaches a certain level of heat. And it's really fun because these are quite powerful weapons, and you basically want to manage the heat and keep it in that ideal spot. Okay, cool. And scope improvements. Now this was shown yesterday, but I want to dig in a little bit more with this one. So Cool. So, to get if anyone plays a modern FPS, they know that optics are just gorgeous now. In all modern shooters, they look fantastic. And as you can see, we have zoomed in optics in the center. So and then we have other things like parallax, like you see in real life. And they look gorgeous. And so in general, all our sights and scopes have been overhauled to be more realistic with things like parallax, pincushion distortion, and things you'd expect from having a scope in general. And it differs manufacturer to manufacturer, right? So some things are purely digital, some things are purely physical. So if you get hit by an EMP grenade, for example, we're using something like a television sight, like something like Cluey might have, then your optic would turn off. All right. Thank you. Cool. And weapons are ultimately as only good as they sound. I'll be quiet for this next bit. But as you know, we've done a lot of work on our audio propagation systems and just in general how guns sound. We've also switched out some noises and made them feel a lot more beefy. Fantastic. I think all of California heard us there. So, backpack reloading. In real-life combat scenarios, you often grab magazines from other surplus areas. I want to simulate that in our game. So, to show you this, we have something called backpack reloading. If you run out of ammo in Star Citizen, you have to open a menu, put things on. It's a little bit clunky, it's a little bit awkward. So if you have magazines in your backpack, you will now be able to grab them at the price of a longer reload animation. You will also be able to tell when you have a backpack reload coming up because it will be displayed on the inventory with the backpack symbol. So there's no surprises, no catching of. You have all the information you need. And this has been shown, and it's been teased a little bit, the dynamic crosshair. Now, no more third-party dynamic crosshairs now. So, if you have a look at this, this is our new crosshair. It's a crosshair that fits the aesthetic of Star Citizen. It's a crosshair that follows the barrel of the weapon, so you'll see exactly where a bullet is going to land. And it's projected from the visor using AR. Some visors won't have access to this crosshair, but some will use modified combat lenses. So if you don't want to use the crosshair, you can just use a different visor. As you can see, it works with recoil, and overall, it just looks gorgeous. Cool. Cheers. And on to more data things. We're going to provide an improved PvE experience. The accuracy calculator for NPCs is coming over from Squadron 42. Some people have been playing it in the venue and here, and I've been harassing them, whoever's doing the hangar mission, to get their feedback, and it has been overwhelmingly positive. We also have new NPC archetypes, what we're temporarily calling the Juggernaut, which is basically a very high damage resistant enemy that has an LMG or a shotgun. As soon as they see you, they fire, they walk up to you. And overall, it's been playing amazingly, and I'm really happy for you guys, well, I'm really excited for you guys to get your hands on it at one point. PvP, we want to increase the time to kill. This allows for more varied weapon balancing. You know, we can lay into like sort of different aspects of the element more. It leads to higher skill ceiling and less unfair deaths. It will no longer be a game of whoever shoots whoever first. Speaking of which, force reactions. We're reworking them. We're aware it's frustrating, and we are going to rework the system to work beautifully. And we're also working on some other highly requested PvP changes. I'm very happy to say a lot of this work has been dialed in for Squadron 42, is in a very good state, and we're bringing this to you soon. Now, over to the AI director, Fran, to share some exciting updates on combat AI.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Francesco Roccucci, as you said, and I'm the eye director in CIG. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you guys. It's fantastic. So what we're going to do today is to explore how all the work we've done for Squadron 42 is going to flow into the Star Citizen experience. So we wanted to make the eye presentation about how you guys are going to experience the tech and the features we have been working on. So from the player perspective, you've seen how many new opportunities you have. And now it's interesting to see how the NPC are going to react to that. So the goal of Star Citizen is to build a breathing and living environment where your actions matters, and the NPC you will find in the universe needs to have the same opportunities and same limitations that you have. So when we play a game, we want you to spend the time that feels memorable, that feels special, right? Something you can remember and talk about. So we want you to give you a challenge to overcome, but also a challenge that is fun and doesn't feel repetitive and boring. So when we look at FPS Encounter, we want to build variety. We want to give the designers, like Zach, the ability to craft combat scenarios, not just to put NPC in the level. And we need to make sure that he can tweak something such that he can experience the unique play style and the play space that you have. So Star Citizen can benefit from tons of unique environments. So for those environments, we want you to have different type of fun. So what we'll look at today is some of the tools that they have to achieve this goal and bring the eye to the next level. So the first tool we're going to look at today is the NPC trait system. So we spoke about this in the past, and we have now available for designers the initial set of traits they can use to influence the behaviors. So those are some of the ones that are available to the designers. Today we're going to focus on the combat traits, because we have traits that also apply to the peaceful situation and the social environment, but those are the ones that influence NPCs during a combat scenario. And traits, you can imagine them as characteristics NPCs have or don't have. So through the usage, we can make sure the combat feels different from one encounter to another. Traits in tech-wise, are just traits and tags that we can apply to character instance, character classes, but code can also apply them automatically based on specific rules. For example, if you see somebody with a rocket launcher, those will apply, an example, the sentry trait automatically, because those weapons are weapons that work well at range, so you want them to not push forwards to you. So they allow to block, or actually, they allow or they block specific section of the behaviors to run, but they also influence the likelihood of some logic to happen, or they modify the outcome of specific actions. So let's imagine we want to model a pirate faction, something that you can actually experience in the Pyro playground. So we want them to feel aggressive, but also not very trained. They are not very military. So how do we do it with the traits? We can start adding to this faction either the aggressive or reckless trait. Those are traits that increase the risky behaviors. So for example, fighting more in open space or expose themselves longer when they are in cover. We can then assign to some of those pirates the ignore fire obstruction trait. As you've seen, for example, in Chris Rain's presentation during the CTG demo, we have now destructible environment. So what the NPC will try to do is to keep shooting at the position the enemy has been hiding into. So you will see destroying environment, but you will also see them being less careful and managing their ammos. For others, we could use the undisciplined trigger finger trait. So this trait is, for example, meant to convey the inability to control their weapon when they are emotionally engaged in the fight. And what it will cause is them to trigger the weapon much longer also just a bit longer compared to what the behavior is asking. So being better at preserving their ammo means they will also run out of bullets much quicker. So this offers interesting opportunities for players because they can now shoot at them while they reload or while they scavenge the environment. So traits are building blocks we can use to define how character, faction, or encounter should feel. And designer can now create a wide variety of encounters for you guys to enjoy the game. So I want to paint a picture for you guys. So this is the bunker mission in Pyro, right? And we have a set of enemies that are defending the environment. So this is imagine an infiltrate and destroy mission. Those guys are there defending the bunker. You need to take it over. You need to basically kill them all. You are now fighting against enemies that they defend the environment. So before we go to the next slide, imagine the same environment, very similar enemies, but different traits, same behavior. So now you are defending an environment, and they are aggressive towards the environment. They want to take it. So what you will see here is that created a mix of enemies, some equipped with, for example, shotgun and aggressive traits. Now they will push towards you. They will force you to take actions and to react to them. They reload. Some will cover up. Obviously, this is with God mode on, so Zach was not dying. So this is possible to set up with a tick of a box. But this is not just enemies, because in Star Citizen, we want you to hire your own crew members. And those crew members, those characters, will have different personalities, different traits, different training level that they can build up. But when you look at their traits, we want you to see their strengths and their weaknesses so that you can pick the one that either match your playstyle or compensate your playstyle. So one good thing that we want to show you today is the medic. So there are some NPCs that can carry, obviously, med pants, but not everybody is able to use it well or wants to use it in a specific encounter. So we want to tweak this, and we have the medic trait. Here we combine a lot of the tech that we have spoken in the past, usable tech, behavior tech. And as Jens showed you, players now can just not only kill enemies, because before our NPCs would just die, but now you can take them down, you can restrain them. So the hyperception needs to carry all this information about the different actor states. So he needs to know if he's down, but if he's still alive, or if it's just, somebody that you need to wake up. So a medic in the regular combat flow can, when it's safe to do so, and at the right time, attempt to heal his mate that can be helped. So now you can imagine guard patrolling the environment, you take down a character, the guard finds this body on the ground. He doesn't know if he's alive or not. So he can go there, he can check it, check the pulse, see the state, and if he can be helped, he can basically execute the right healing process. If he needs a med pen, he will use the med pen. If he needs to shake him to wake him up, he will shake him up. And if he needs to unrestrain him, he will unrestrain him. And your crew members can also do the same with you. So if you are down in critical condition, they can come and help you out. We'll see now an example of this, where two factions are fighting. And you will see that at the right time, when the guy retreats, this guy can go there and heal his mate. And obviously, he needs to pick up a new weapon because he just dropped it. So as we mentioned before, and as you've seen here, NPC can run out of bullets, but can also lose their weapons. So what we have to do right now is that, first of all, we want NPCs to have a concrete ammo pool to use. We don't want infinite ammos anymore. So the ammo pool is actually constructed by the ammos the NPC carry in their weapons, the one that they carry, the one that might have, and all the magazines they carry. They don't have any more bullets out of that. So NPC must properly use those items to fight. And the longer the engagement, the more likely it is they will run out of bullets and they will have to scavenge the environment. How do they do that? It's through the usable system, as you've seen with Ines as well, Ines' presentation. You see that anything the player can interact with, the NPCs actually can, the same exact way. So the dead bodies can be looted, same as dropped weapons. Ammo crates will have physically inside some weapons, magazines. They can provide you with items. And the NPC can understand where you can find ammos that are actually functioning with their own weapons. And they actually can decide. For example, if it's better to reach an ammo crate and gather some new ammos, or if that is too far or towards the enemy, they can decide to pick up another weapon. So you will see that also already in Pyro, you might see it. And once they decide to do so, obviously they don't have bullets, so they cannot fight you. What they can do, they can also switch to their sidearms. And the sidearms is less effective, obviously, compared to the primary weapon, but it is still better than nothing for them to protect themselves while they go around and they loot the environment. So we'll see here an example where some NPC run out of bullets. Obviously, in this video, we give them a chance to go and loot as well. And this is a proper ammo crate that allows them to get back magazines. And another NPC arrives, and he will loot the dead body. This is the same dead body you might be able to loot, and you will not find ammos after that. But you will probably find it in the other one once you kill it. So, last but not least, another tool in the FPS arsenal is grenades. Grenades are a great tool. NPC can now fully react and use grenades in the environment. So grenades are a great tool, especially when an NPC needs to counter a player that is camping or a player that is hiding or say in a location that the NPC cannot reach. So grenades force the movement and keep the action going. But they're also very dangerous. You've seen in Ali's presentation and Mike's presentation that a grenade can make electronics explode, ignite a fire, and then the fire can propagate in the environment. So NPCs need to properly understand the environment and not jump into the fire and get damaged. So how do we do that? Is we have a new full system to handle hazards. Basically, a hazard on the technical side can create a navigation volume modifier, and the navigation module modifier gets registered in navigation system, and our basically mesh can be modified, and it will carry semantic about if that is a danger, something better, and how much costly it is to go through. Because maybe you have a suit that allows you to go through the fire, so that is fine. You will not, the NPC can understand that. But if they can't, they will try to find positions that are safe for them to position themselves, but also paths that will avoid those dangerous areas. And now we'll see an example of that. This is a safe environment, still fighting, but safe, safer. And what will happen now? Fire ignites and propagates. This is fully dynamic, so it's fully controlled by the fire system. The fire system modifies volumes in the navigation system, and we really know where we can and not pass at any given moment. So this is a subset of the things that we worked on and we wanted to show you today. Thanks very much for listening, and now back to Jens.
Right, I want to thank Inesh, I want to thank Zach, and I want to thank Francesco for joining me on stage today. We want to extend a massive thank you to everyone who contributed to, supported us, and made it possible to show what we showed today. Now, with relentless optimism, we're looking forward to bringing you this all to the Star Citizen and more. Okay, we're going to leave you with a quick peek of a demo in Hangar 14 of Checkmate with some of these new features. Enjoy. Right. Thank you very much. I urge you all to come and join us in the Pyro Playground pit and have a go at Hangar 13 in Checkmate. It's a really great encounter. Thank you.